Hey, welcome to episode 14 of Bloggers Are Weird. I am your host, DJ Paris, from this podcast, of course, also the blog thoughtsfromparis.com. But I'm also here to talk about a new podcast that I'll be launching shortly with one of my best friends, Karen, and this is called O-Sex. It stands for Opposite Sex. Struggled a little bit there on opposite. I was going to say opportunity sex, but that's a whole different type of show. Opposite sex. Well, what is it? It's basically a sex and relationship advice section for people looking for answers. So you'll submit your questions, or we can chat with you on Skype, or we can just read them. You can submit anonymously. Any questions you have related to sex, relationships, marriage, dating. You know, Judy from work and accounting is kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah, you can talk about her. We'll settle her hash. We'll talk about what you need to do to get back at Judy in accounting. Accounts receivable. She sucks. Anyway, so this is going to be a new show that's coming out. We're really excited about it. Karen is fantastic. And we just put a little teaser trailer bumper on thoughtsfromparis.com. So check it out. We have a little 3-minute video, and this is going to be really exciting and fun. Okay, what are we doing today? Well, this is one of the weeks where I read my own crap. So, I've got a friend named Jane, and I've known her forever. And she was telling me this story about how she was really unhappy with her weight. And I said, well, yeah, we're all really unhappy with our weight. And she said, yeah, so I saw myself in the mirror one day and I didn't like what I saw, the shape of her body. And she said, so I just said, I got to take care of this. And she did. And I said, okay, but you're left out all the part about you shaming yourself, calling yourself a piece of shit in your head, saying, how did you let yourself get this fat? Why did you eat those extra bonbons? She goes, well, why would I say any of that? Well, I said, because you did do all those things, obviously. You got fat. You did those things. And she said, well, I guess so, but why would I shame myself for that? And I looked at her like, well, what do you Of course you shame yourself. How else do you judge yourself poorly for making these horrible decisions? And she looked at me like she didn't know what I was saying. And she goes, I didn't do any of that. I just looked at myself and said, oh, okay, I just need to lose 15 pounds. And I said, and then it occurred to me, this is what normal people do when they see a problem in their life and they need to fix it. They don't sit there and beat themselves up, which is what I do. And I just love the fact that Jane just went, I got to lose a few pounds. No big deal. Whereas me, I look at myself and I go, why did you eat that extra pork fried rice last night? You were such a pig. This is why, blah, 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 blah. And I go into a shame spiral. So I was thinking about that today because the stories I'm going to read today have to do with looking at myself in the mirror, not judging my weight. That's a whole nother podcast, and we could do that all day long. And really, you could hear me start to cry because we all cry when we look at our bodies. But this one is about the hair on my body, so I wanted to set it up. But it is a really good lesson, I think, in life to learn that shaming yourself, for the most part, just doesn't work. I see myself when I come out of the shower every day. I've got a few extra pounds that I'd like to get rid of, and it just doesn't help me to lose the weight. So I always thought it would. If you don't beat yourself up, how are you going to get motivated to fix it? Well, I've found that most of the time in life, that just simply doesn't help me to find that motivation. So anyway, grab a double deuce of Beck's Dark or whatever your drug of choice is. Mine is combination pork fried rice. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Today's podcast is sponsored by romance-text.com. Looking to reignite the passion in your relationship? You have to check out romance-text.com.
unwantedtext.com. This is how to use text messages to bring back the passion and reignite the spark you once had. Now, if you're thinking this sounds cheesy, or maybe it's just learning how to send dirty text messages, it's actually not. This program by relationship expert Michael Fiore has been featured in over 200 television and radio shows. This program has a money-back guarantee, is normally $97, but listeners of Bloggers Are Weird get a special price of only $47 for the entire program. By purchasing the program, you help support this show. Visit romance-text.com and get the passion back.
I was at a woman's house recently, a woman that I date, and I had dropped something, and I went to pick it up, and her dog was laying next to her on the couch, and she said, "Ooh, look at DJ's hairy back." So I took off my shirt to show her that my back, in fact, was not that hairy, but it really is hairy. But because I'm blonde, the hairs kind of just blend in with my skin because I'm so pale. So I kind of get away with having a hairy back. But I thought it would have actually a lot of fun to reveal a couple of quick stories that I had about such and said back. So here we go. Now, this first story is called Shaving for the Party, and it takes place last summer. So you're going to have to read it or listen to it as if it was, in fact, happening in the middle of summer when it is more appropriate to go to a swimming party. Okay. Shaving for the party. I'm attending a swimming party this Saturday. Now, this is sad but true. This is probably going to be the only swimming I do all summer. Now, I go to the dog beach about every weekend, and I occasionally can get my Chihuahua to take a few steps in the water, but half of my foot gets wet and that's about it, and doesn't really count as swimming, right? Also sad but true, I will have to do a bit of a shave down before this party coming up. As a blonde, I get away with a few things that the dark-haired unfortunates don't. Now, some dudes have to keep their eyebrows in check because they grow together or too bushy or whatever. I don't know by that. Mine can do whatever the hell they want. They kind of blend in anyway with my skin tone. Also, let's talk about chest hair. Again, some men like to trim that up. Totally not necessary if you're blonde. I'm probably hairier than most, but if you look at my chest dead on, it's like a chameleon, blends in with my non-existent pectorals. From a side view, sure, it's kind of a mess. Do I have a hairy fanny? I have no idea. I believe that it is, just by texture, but I've never seen it. I have to look in the mirror and twist around. That's a bunch of work for something that nobody can see or will see. I should also point out that I keep my pants on during sex. Now, speaking back to my fanny, if there is a thicket back there, it is a pale thicket. However, one thing I do have to do, and I'm not terribly proud to admit this, is to shave the top part of my shoulders. And here's why. When hair grows up, out, and above your body, you can see it no matter what color it is. So for the first time all year, and probably the last, I'm running the Mach 3 over the shoulders. Now, the biggest downside to being blonde is skin color. You never see a super tan blonde guy. We just get red. Since I ride my bike 20 miles a day, by the end of the summer, you can definitely see where the shorts end and the suntan begins. I do darken up, well, a little. But even still, it's 50 shades of pink lighter than an Irishman. And by the way, I hope that author doesn't name his sequel 50 Shades of Pink Lighter Than an Irishman. I have a feeling that wouldn't sell as well. So even though I've logged more time in the sun than most, I will still be grossly pale when I get to the pool. I know, not a huge deal, except it is, because in my mind, being translucent is not visually appealing. I used to joke that the only color I get are cherry angiomas. Google that if it doesn't make you laugh. And I'm insecure about it. While I have no insecurities about meeting strangers at a pool party, being the pale guy is uncomfortable. And yes, I know nobody is looking, and nobody cares anyway. But I'm 36, I'm relatively happy, I'm not much into what's superficial, and I'm dating, so I have fantastic women in my life, and I'm pretty comfortable in my skin. Well, in my skin, not the color of it. Okay, now this is the follow-up to that story, which happened a few days after I had released the I'm going to shave my back. apiece. And this next story, not to give the big reveal away, well, I'll go ahead and give it away. It's called I Shaved My Back for Nothing. So here we go. Often I sit in front of the computer for 15 minutes or more trying to figure out what to write. Not today. 2 days ago, I shared about needing to trim up my shoulder hair for a pool party I had been invited to. Now, today was the day of the party, so I grabbed my suit, a towel, and headed out the door for my friend's house, which is an hour away. Now, let's back up. About a month ago, I received an evite for their son's 2.5 birthday. His big day is around Christmas, so they host a party in the summer. It's a pretty good idea. Anyway, the invite didn't have much description except promised food and fun for little kids. Then 2 days before the party, they sent a reminder email with these exact and only words. Don't forget to bring your swimsuit, towels, and Tupperware for leftovers. Can't wait to see everybody on Saturday. Oh, it's a pool party. Oh, great. I didn't know. I was very excited to swim in a pool as this would probably be the only time the entire summer. Thus, the post references earlier was written. And it made sense. I was pretty sure they belong to a country club that's part of their homeowners association. It's near where they live. I wasn't 100% sure this was the case as they never discussed a pool, but I know for sure that there's a golf course and a club restaurant. So I figured we'd truck over there from their house to the pool and swim with the kids. Just before I left the house, I realized I'd forgotten to shave down my shoulders. So gross. I marched back into the condo. I was on my way. I was walking out the door and I go, oh, my shoulders didn't get shaved. I'm just thinking about how ridiculous this is reading. So I marched back into the house. And I'd like to say that I did the deed in the shower stall, but that would not be honest. I wetted down the razor so that the hair stuck to the blade and stood where I brushed my teeth and looked longingly at myself in the mirror. Then I washed the razor stuck back pubes out in the sink. Let me repeat that. Then I washed the razor stuck back pubes out in the sink. 3 minutes later, I emerged from the bathroom without shoulder and upper back hair. I was ready to party. Smash cut to me pulling up to their house. As I rounded the corner to the backyard, I saw an inflatable bouncy castle, a snow cone machine, a guy driving a 3-car mini train, and an inflatable slide pool. And I realized I was not going swimming. Now this makes sense because why would you meet at their house if we were going to go to a pool? We would have just met at the pool. I also noticed the kids were in their bathing suits in the big pool slide thing, and there were 4 inches of water collected at the bottom of the slide. I would like to say that I felt stupid because had I thought this through, I might have deduced the swimming was for children. But the email was the culprit. The email went to adults, and it didn't specify the object of bring your suit. As such, I had to assume the object was the person to which the email was sent, namely me. I had fun anyway, and I'm home now, glad this happened so that I could write about it. Plus, my shoulders are silky smooth. Okay, that wraps up another episode of Bloggers Are Weird. Hopefully you're not thoroughly grossed out, but if you do have back hair, let's shave it. And if you're really a man, most likely you're a woman, so you don't have a lot of back hair. But if you're really a man and you have back hair, because men don't really listen to my show, I found it's all women. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's my super masculine nature. It appeals to the feminine mind. But either way, if you got extra body hair, if you really want to be super cool and tough, get yourself an Epilady. That's that thing with the gears that push the little things together and rip out the hair by the root. It is pure agony, but you will feel better about yourself by doing it because you'll feel like you just ran like a good couple of miles at full sprint. It's not easy, but it hurts so good. Get rid of that hair. Anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed the stories. I will see you next week. Be on the lookout for O-Sex with Karen and DJ, our new podcast about relationship and sex questions answered and advice for you. Also, read my blog, thoughtsfromparis.com, and I will see you next time. So, bye, DJ.